Chris Scalzer here with
Matt Howell.
Recording this late Sunday night because the Pats have, I'm assuming, cheated their way into another Super Bowl.
No, whatever.
So it's a late night, but I know Matt's going to bring the energy. I'm very excited about it because he is a consummate professional-ish.
Mm-hmm. Right. This
week on the big show, on the first run, because listen, podcasters, you're supposed to name drop your show. You really shouldn't just jump into stuff. So this week on the first run, Matt and I are going to discuss Mary Poppins Returns. As I live and breathe. It's pretty Mary
good.
Poppins.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good Lin-Manuel Miranda impression. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk about the much, is anticipated the right word? Disney sequel, The Mary Poppins Returns. And of course, Clint Eastwood returns not just to the directorial chair, but he acts for the first time since Trouble with the Curve in The Mule. And the question on everybody's mind is how many threesomes will you participate in this film? And then, of course, with so much movie news going on, it's the return of the lounge, which is basically our general kind of BS time for about 20 minutes. So we got to get Matt into bed. So let's get this train rolling. Here's a clip from As I Live and Breathe.
Father! Aunt Jane! Come quick! Quickly!
What is it, Georgie?
Has something happened? I was flying a kite and I got caught on a nanny.
Whatever are you talking about?
Come look!
Wait, where did you get that kite?
I found it in the park. She kept it from blowing away.
Mary Poppins. Close your mouth, please, Michael. We are still not a codfish. Jane Banks. Still rather inclined to giggle, I see.
Good heavens. It really is you. You seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? How incredibly rude. One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
I'm sorry, I didn't...
You came back. I thought we'd never see you again.
It is wonderful to see you.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Was it, Matt? Was it wonderful to see Mary Poppins Returns? Now, I'm assuming you saw this with your lovely young child.
You're correct. I did see this with my lovely young child. That is right.
So it's been a long time since the first Mary Poppins film, 1964.
Right.
With, Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. And I think, certifiable classic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that's fair.
And we watched it again over the holidays. We went through a kind of rotation of classics, Wizard of Oz. We popped in Mary Poppins. And that film still does hold up. It is just wonderful.
Okay.
So this is a sequel / kind of reboot, relaunch, I believe.
Right.
What were your thoughts? And were you happy and excited that we finally got a sequel to the original?
So I don't think the original was really begging for a sequel. If I may be so bold,
Please be.
I think the Leaving Well Enough Alone would have been fine. Honestly, as longtime listeners of this show will know, I'm not a huge fan of musicals, so this is a tough sit for me. Yeah, I whatever magic the first one had, this one was absent, and I just have to assume that's just because of we don't have Dick Van Dyke or
Julie Andrews.
Julie Andrews, yes, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. In the title roles, I think they brought all of the charm to the role, and honestly, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that myself. I think one of the big two failings for me for the film is the music. The songs just don't seem to have the same impact to me. I don't think it's just nostalgia either. I think there really is. They just weren't as good as the original. And it tries to kind of replicate those moments, right? When, there's the sidewalk chalk art jumping into, this time it's a bowl. They try to kind of recreate a whole bunch of those different things. There's the upside down house when before they'd laugh and float in the air, all that kind of stuff. And it just felt a little hollow to me, unfortunately. There are a few moments that I thoroughly enjoyed, but as a whole, the film didn't really ever connect with me. And I don't know if that's because I'm not a kid. I feel like it's innocuous enough that it'll work as family entertainment, and I think maybe even it's worth a watch then. Though I feel it deals with some kind of heavier subjects than the original film did. And we're not dealing just with unruly, undisciplined kids. We're going to lose our home, our job. There's no money. It's
Right.
a lot heavier stuff going on here, which I guess I don't know if that's just a sign of the times that they need to kind of beef it up a little bit. I don't know. Still, it's okay. It's competently done, and I think for a kids film, for a family movie, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah, and I mean, as somebody who probably sees a lot, I see out of the two of us, I would hope I see the bulk of the family films. But yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty good, solid entertainment out there. I mean, even the animated films, even if they're kind of lackluster, they have their moments. Whereas this just seemed kind of blah. I mean, it just seemed like it was just there. And I can tell you this: my daughter was not into it. She was not like a huge Mary Poppins fan. But we went, and I don't think she really took away much of anything from it.
That's too bad. I think it's just a little unimaginative. Just like you say, it's a little bland. It doesn't. What if they embraced the? What if we get into the mythos of who she is? Because she's a witch, right? Isn't she a witch?
I honestly have no idea what the backstory of Mary Poppins is.
I can't. That's the only thing that kind of that checks all the boxes. So maybe in the next film, she goes up against her evil twin, like Michael Knight and Garth, like a Knight Rider. Maybe it'll be it's a broomstick instead of an umbrella. We could have a whole big Harry Potter kind of face off.
Yeah.
Would that be too heavy?
Mary Poppins and the Deathly Hallows, it could work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. All right. As I said, I think it's fine for family entertainment, though I think you are of the team here. You're the authority on that because you see most of those films. So you're saying, is it a skip it in that realm then? Is it not even worth?
I mean, if you're looking to go take your kids out to go see something and you've seen everything else that's out there, you might as well. I mean, it's innocuous, but if they don't want to see it, I wouldn't drag them to it. You're not really super missing anything. I'd give it a C+.
That's exactly what I had written down as well. What a C+. Wow. Synergy.
Synergy, that's right. We are on the same wavelength. All that arguing you came for from all of our earlier shows, done. Although we're firing Chris at the end of the show because he didn't like something that we may talk about later. So,
what? Oh, okay. Interesting. You've had a chance to see Mary Poppins Returns. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. How'd you feel about Emily Blunt?
Again, just kind of, I like Emily Blunt, but she just seemed kind of lifeless. Like she didn't have the vibrancy that Julie Andrews does. And that's what I think that kind of like impish mischievousness that Julie Andrews had. She just seemed kind of like an uptight nanny.
Well, we get Dick Van Dyke. I don't understand why they couldn't get Julie Andrews. Angela Lansbury is in this thing, but we can't get Julie Andrews to do a cameo or something. I didn't quite get that.
Maybe Julie Andrews didn't want to do it.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm like, wait a minute, has she passed? Like when I got home or I got out of the movie, I looked at my phone.
Yeah,
she's still with us, right? Yeah, and she is.
All right.
So I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was just something she just was not interested to participate in. So interesting. Again, feedback@thefirstrun.com. Share us your thoughts on Mary Poppins Returns. Maybe you love that whole gaslight guy montage song that went on. This felt like for 20 minutes. I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
The lamp ladders that take the place of the chimney sweeps.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. So let's go ahead then and let's move on because we still got to get you all tucked into bed for the night. And of course, as always, every episode is specifically mastered for a particular listening experience. This one is magically putting away your clothes in your brand new wardrobe or in any wardrobe or dresser.
Very good.
All right.
I don't get very many opportunities to do that, so I won't be listening to this very often.
Damn it. That's true. I never thought about it that way. Wow, yeah. A lot of these experiences are very hard to come by.
They are. They really are. But you know what? I appreciate we think outside the box. Anybody can say this is mastered for a run. Who cares about that? No. We master it for a run away from katana wielding hitmen on bicycles. That's really what we working out for.
We really want to get that perfect sound for you.
Mhm.
So coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, January 22nd, is a film I saw, you did not. That is, I think, just unfairly missed. I don't know. This didn't have the impact I thought it would. So here's a clip.
Jan, the ship is stable. They're going to be all right.
He's okay, Jan.
I need you to go home.
Fine. Turn the box back on.
I'll see what I
Now,
can do.
turn the box back on now.
Oh, there's security protocol.
Well, I don't give a damn. I've got a dozen cameras on my front lawn, Deke. Do you want me telling them what's going on?
Jan, you have to trust us. We've got this under control.
No, you don't. All these protocols and procedures to make it seem like you have it under control. But you're a bunch of boys making models out of balsa wood. You don't have anything under control.
That is Claire Foy in First Man. Starring, of course, Claire Foy and Ryan Gosling in the story of Neil Armstrong. Directed by Damien Chazelle, who gave us Whiplash and La La Land. Just didn't really hit this past year. I'm not quite sure why. It is good. I don't know if it's quite as good as his other two films. I felt it was a little cold and distant, but I thought also may have been Chazelle's intention, and I just did a poor job of taking it in. It's coming up, obviously, this upcoming Tuesday, the 22nd on 4K and Blu-ray. I think I definitely want to see this again. I'm wondering if I will. I feel, Matt, that I'm going to appreciate it more on a second viewing.
Okay.
Include some deleted scenes, a bunch of making featurettes as well. So, and feature commentary from Chazelle, as well as the screenwriter and editor of the film. How to Train Your Dragon 2, which I understand is a great little series. Have you seen this sequel?
Yeah, I really like the How to Train Your Dragon series. It's pretty good.
So it's the sequel that's coming out, includes commentary by the director and a whole bunch of other featurettes, a trivia track, a Frozen episode from DreamWorks Dragons, Defenders of Berk, a Book of Dragons short, and some other commentaries as well. The Hate You Give. Star Carter is constantly switching between two worlds, the poor, mostly black neighborhood where she lives and the rich, mostly white prep school she attends. The uneasy balance between these worlds is shattered when Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend Khalil at the hands of a police officer. Includes 3 extended scenes, 5 featurettes, and an audio commentary. Johnny English Strikes Again is being released. It includes audio commentary by director David Kerr. I have not seen any of the Johnny English films. Have you?
I have not, no.
Fair enough. So let's move on. Coming up on Blu-ray for the first time from Criterion. I don't know how to describe this. Just a horrifyingly gripping film. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Matt. 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. Are you familiar with this?
I have not, no.
So Romanian filmmaker Christian Mungi shot to international prominence with this rigorously realistic Palme d'Or winning second feature. In 1987, during the dictatorship of Nicolae Ceausescu, college roommates Otila and Gabita seek an illegal abortion for Gabita. And it is just everything she goes through. It is a horrifying film, though, that I think must be watched. Includes a new 4K restoration of the film, some brand new interviews as well, and some alternate and some deleted scenes and a bunch of other stuff. But it's I don't want to say it's a one-timer, but it is still, I think, everything that needs to be seen.
Okay.
And then Elaine May crafted a gangster film like no other in the Nocturnal Odyssey, Mickey and Nicky, also being released by Criterion. Capitalizing on the chemistry between frequent collaborators John Cassavetes and Peter Falk. Includes a brand new 4K restoration of the film supervised by Elaine May, as well as a new program, the making of the film, and some new interviews with a few film critics and an audio interview from Peter Falk back from '76. Arrow, Matt, is releasing Waterworld on Blu-ray. It is yeah, go ahead.
You remember when that was just considered outrageously expensive? They spent $200 million on it, and it was like the sky was falling. Now that's like an average summer blockbuster.
That's
budget.
true. I have never seen Waterworld. Is it any good? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it actually multiple times. Yeah, it's okay. It's weird. It's not great, but it's worth a Saturday afternoon, nothing better to do kind of watch.
Well, now you can pick it up with a 2-disc limited edition, a brand new restoration. It's a 4K scan of the original negative, and includes 6 collector's postcards, a double-sided fold-out poster, a limited edition 60-page perfectly bound book, I don't know how they know that. Reversible sleeve featuring the original and as well as newly commissioned artwork. Disc 1 features a theatrical cut. Disc 2, which is an limited edition exclusive, Matt, are 2 extended cuts of the film. The US TV cut, which runs 40 minutes longer, as well as the extended European Ulysses cut, which includes censored shots and dialogue. So if you're a Waterworld fan, this looks to be the reveal or release for you.
Well, you can muster up a lot of enthusiasm for that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've never seen it. I hear it's supposed to be okay, entertaining. That's what you just said.
That's true. And I'm never wrong, so.
Fair. Coming up from Shout Factory is an all-time classic starring Sylvester Stallone. A brand new 2K remaster of the film, Matt. And what is this? 5 new featurettes, include basically all interviews with actors and actresses from the movie, but not the big actor, not the big interview. And that is, of course, Stallone's Cobra, which is something else. If you haven't seen Cobra, it has one of my all-time favorite scenes, Matt, when he's eating the slice of pizza and he cuts it in half with a pair of scissors.
Really?
And then eats it. And I don't know why he does that, but he does. So Stallone basically hunts a gang of serial killers, which apparently is a thing. And then you can watch him do that in some great, cheesy, awesome 80s dialogue. Shout Factory is also releasing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, the brand new 2K remaster of that film. I don't know if I said it, but Cobra's getting a 2K remaster as well. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels also includes a new interview with the writer, Dale Launer, audio commentary ported over from a prior release from director Frank Oz. Again, Shout Factory with a 4K remaster of 10 to Midnight, the Charles Bronson film where he plays an LA detective who's hunting a serial killer. There's a whole bunch of new featurettes on that, including some new audio commentaries and interviews with some of the production people and actors. MVD is releasing the movie Double Dragon. Yes, there was a movie about Double Dragon. Includes 2 brand new making of featurettes and a new high-definition transfer. Twilight Time has a bevy of new releases, limited to 3,000 copies only. Beat the Devil, directed by John Huston, written by Truman Capote. Return of Frank James, directed by Fritz Lang, starring Henry Fonda, which is a revenge western. Yanks, which stars Richard Gere and Vanessa Redgrave. And then Untamed, starring Tyrone Power. So if you're familiar with any of these films, and they got a limited run coming from Twilight Time. And then Best Friends or Best Fiends, parts 1 and 2, officially being released as a package. This is the Greg Sestero, Tommy Wiseau reunion films. I got to meet them last year and see part 1. I did not see part 2, unfortunately. I will have to catch up with it. It's not like The Room, but Sestero does a good job of capturing Tommy in all his glory. So there you go. Straight to DVD pick of the week, Matt, is going to be She-Borg. When an alien fugitive crash lands into a local puppy farm and begins turning people into machines that feed on puppy flesh, Dylan and her BFF Eddie have to decide whether or not to take on the She-Borg menace and save the world. Puppies. That is sad. What should we be streaming this week that hopefully doesn't involve a puppy farm?
Sure. So I think one of our favorite movies of the past year that came out in 2018, a good little indie film, Sorry to Bother You, is available on Hulu. It's the story of a young man who learns how to speak white for his telemarketing job, and he quickly moves up the ranks, and it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. The ending you may or may not be on board with. We'll see. But Armie Hammer is a delight. So he is a good time in this. So it's a really, I think anybody can be on board on this for at least 3/4 of this film. That's enough for me to give it a recommendation.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All right, let's move on then, Matt. We got to get Matt into his jammies. All right. I'm going to take another quick break.
I'm in my jammies right now. Thank you very much.
Go Rams. And we're going to come back and no, go Rams.
Let's not do this.
Let's talk about the Mule.
hopefully.
Need help, sir?
Oh, officer, hi.
You need help?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
What do you got there?
Pecans. I'm delivering pecans to my niece.
Pecans?
Yeah, pecans. She makes the worst pecan pie you've ever tasted. I feel sorry for her husband, and I feel sorry for the pecans, too.
All right, Matt. So why don't you tell the fine folks at home or on the road or cleaning up their bedrooms magically by putting their clothes into their dressers? What is the Mule all about? And then answer the question for me. If this is indeed it, is this a good final acting swan song for Clint?
Okay, so the Mule is about a elderly man who was really into raising rare flowers. He's a horticulturist. He's lost all of his money because obviously, shock of all shocks, horticulture doesn't pay the bills very well. So he gets on as a drug mule for a shadowy cartel from south of the border that is up in Illinois for some reason, and he's going to drive it south because nobody would expect an octogenarian drug mule. And that's basically it. Now to your second question. This is no. I would say no. This is not a good film to exit on. But honestly, he might as well just go ahead and quit with the acting right now. And if some of his more recent directing work is indicative, get rid of that too. I think Clint needs to hang it up.
You think so, huh?
As much as I love the man, that's very true.
His filmography directorially has always been kind of hit and miss.
Sure.
Like he'll do, Unforgiven, which could be the greatest Western of the 20th century, maybe. But then he'll do like Bloodwork, which is just not good. The 1517 to Paris was atrocious.
Oh my gosh, terrible.
Sully was okay, and I really liked American Sniper. I think it was like my number 2 or 3 film of that year.
Yeah.
But Trouble with the Curve was a disaster. Of course, he just acted in that, I believe. He didn't direct that. J. Edgar, not great. Hereafter, not great. I did not see Invictus. Changeling was solid. Gran Torino, I think, may have been the one to go out on.
I agree.
So, all right. So you're saying this is not a good one for him to go out on performance-wise, or at least maybe it's the film that's the issue. Where do you lean on that? It's because I thought his performance on this was solid. I thought he turned in some solid work on this. There were times where I felt like I was watching my grandfather, and I'm going through my head I haven't talked to him like in a week or two. I wonder
if he's running a shipment from New York to somewhere else, up to the Canadian border.
Well, but he's in his 90s, so probably not.
Well, I mean, Clint's 88, so pretty close. Okay. So I guess you're right. I guess I can see that Clint's performance is decent, but there's just something about this movie. I'm just not engaged by it at all. It just seems very dour and lifeless, and I don't know if that's just if that's the script or if that's the direction or if it's just Clint kind of struggling to put together his his gravitas, or only because he's only got one kind of note at this point in his repertoire, grumpy old man. I don't really know what it is. Could be all of those things, to be quite honest with you.
Initially, when I was watching this thing, I thought there's some kind of vanity project for Clint. He's like, I want to go make one last film and I want to act in it and have as many naked women and threesomes as possible. And then I thought, and then I found it was actually based on a true story. And I'm like, well, maybe then that's why he optioned it. I don't know.
There you go. Well, so, I mean, why don't you keep talking about the threesomes? Tell the listeners. I'm sure they all want to know how many threesomes are in this film.
Well, how many is too many, I think is the question. Is one too many? There's 2. 2 of them. And and that's just what he shoots on camera. He could this could be his life now, for all I know.
It's true. Could be.
Now, I'm sure here's the funny thing. So I heard about that going into the movie, and then my first thought was, I'll bet you he's had a ton of those in his real life. Like when he was in prime Clint mode.
Yeah.
That he just must have been, but Now, probably still the same. And I think then I'm like, maybe it's just jealousy. I think it's what it is.
You think that's what it is?
Could be.
Yeah.
Not now, but when I was younger. I'm happily married now.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I don't know. I mean, I can barely give enough attention to one woman. I can't imagine having the... That's another story. I got from my therapist.
50 years from now, when you're pushing 90, maybe you'll have learned everything.
Maybe that'll be the time.
With modern drugs, I'm sure they can make a lot of progress in 50 years.
That's probably good. They're probably good. I think Clint does a fine job in this. I thought his performance was exceptionally strong. I thought directorially he did a great job. This didn't have the errors and omissions and issues that I think that just the issues that 1517 The Paris had. You can go back to our episode when I discussed that. That film really ticked me off. This one does not. I think he does. It's a fairly entertaining story. I think one of the weakest points on it for me is the DEA agents. I think Bradley Cooper and Michael Pena here are just wasted entirely. They're just stereotypes of movie DEA agents. That whole plot line was underwhelming and boring as all hell. The thing I found the most interesting was the family dynamic, the human drama of this man who just basically ignored his family for his entire life and is trying to kind of make amends, but still, and then him and Diane Wiest are great in this thing, as well as Tessa Farmiga. That's, I think, when the film shines for me, is the human family dynamic. That's when I was most roped in. And then possibly when he does some of the runs and his interactions with some of the cartel members, which is another thing, too, I did not expect. Did you know, Matt, that drug cartel people they're just people like you and me? They have family, they're willing to talk and just kind of get to know you, and I never really thought about it that way.
That's very true. I mean, everybody's just trying to make ends meet, Chris.
That's it. Just trying to get through the day.
Yeah, some people work for an insurance company. Other people, go cut heads off of the cartel head's enemy. That's just what he does for a living.
Yeah. He still ties his shoes one pant leg at a time, or however that is. So I don't know if this is what he goes out on. Fine. Like I said before, I think Gran Torino is the one to go out on, but it's okay. I think the film is salvaged by his performance, and again, it's just the family dynamic. The thing that really dragged it down for me was some of the cartel stuff and the DEA stuff. I just did not care at all, and it did a very, I think, poor job of getting me interested in any of that. So for me, Matt, I'm actually still going to give the Mule. I think I'm going to give it a B-. I vacillate between that and C+, but I think this stuff with him and Diane Wiest, especially near the end when he goes to visit her, I thought was particularly moving and well done. So I think I'll stand by my guns and go with the B- on the Mule.
Yeah, I obviously didn't like it as much as you did, although I didn't think it was terrible. So I'm going to go give it the Mary Poppins treatment, the C+.
Mm-hmm.
Can we call it C+?
Mary? Sure.
Let's just call a C+ now on the Mary Poppins treatment.
All right. Sure. I'm going to give it an MP.
An MP?
An NPR, a Mary Poppins Returns. If you had a chance to see the Mule, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts as always. Next up, it's going to be The Lounge. This is when Matt and I just kind of toss out a bunch of stuff that happened over the last week or so in the movie world that tickled our fancy, that we wanted to share with you. We got some major news about a day or so ago. And I got to tell you, Matt, I don't know if it was the wrong decision. Maybe it was right. Here's a hint.
Superman was a beacon to the world. Why aren't you? You're an inspiration, Diana. You don't just save people. You make them see their better selves. And yet, I never heard of you until Luther lured you out by stealing a picture of your dead boyfriend. Shut yourself down for a century, so let's not talk about me moving on.
You know that if she kills you, we'll cover for her.
We are not enough. each of us in our own way is held back. And I promise you, Steppenwolf is not out there talking about ethics. He's trying to burn down the world.
Can you spot the Joss Whedon interjection in that scene? Any ideas? Any guess? Any questions?
I think it's when it's the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Like that they would cover for Wonder Woman if she kills him.
Yeah, I would believe so. So, if you haven't heard the news, basically the head of WB Pictures has said that basically the Marvel track of the shared universe for DCEU is done, and that they're moving on. They're going to focus on the solo films with directorially focused efforts. And okay. You know what? I think if that's where we got to go, that's fine. They botched it in the first place because they rushed the whole thing out. There's stuff coming out this weekend as well, is that the studio had a very heavy hand in the whole thing, and we're not letting them kind of do, or Snyder do what he wanted to do. Now, granted, remember the earlier reviews of Justice League, Matt, was that it was unwatchable. But that he wanted to set up these individual films first, just like the MCU did, right? And then eventually do the Justice League film. And they're like, no, we need to cash in on this now. So do a Superman, do BVS, and then we got to get that Justice League movie cooking. And I can't imagine at some point they won't come together and do like a big dark side thing. But at this point, I don't even know when we're going to get another Superman movie, which just blows my mind. One of the most instantly recognizable properties on the planet, right? And we can't get a second film in development, or at least another one. I don't understand it. So, I don't know. But what are your thoughts on potentially, officially now, the DCEU Marvel-style shared universe where people show up and there's some grand plan that is all dead?
You know what? I'm fine with it. I think it's probably the way to go. As you said, they botched it from the beginning, and it's just always kind of smacked as like kind of an also-ran. Like they were obviously aping their competition, and they were just delivering subpar results. And it wasn't a good look for them, because honestly, DC, you know, they didn't deserve that. I mean, they have like the most iconic characters that there are out there, and they're just kind of wasting them. So as a way of differentiating themselves from Marvel, I think it's probably a smart move. Just kind of reset. Wonder Woman's doing fine on her own. Aquaman's obviously doing fine on her own. You know, we're kind of going scattershot with the Joker anyway. You know, Affleck doesn't want to do it anymore. Get rid of him. Let's have another different Batman. Let's do something different. You know, Gotham by Gaslight, like, is what we keep asking for. Like, you know, something like that. I'm completely fine with it. And I'm not surprised that there's not even another Superman movie, you know, even in the works right now, just because I'm of the opinion that Superman's hard to write like a compelling story for.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
That is such a weird kind of... there's two issues, right? Is because he's the Boy Scout, but also he's so powerful, right? Those are the two things, I guess, that work against him.
Sure.
But they're able to make really fascinating and interesting movies with Captain America, which you may not have thought was possible. That first film, not terribly good, but the following two are fantastic. And all you got to do is throw some magic or some kryptonite, and you're fine. So I don't buy into this Superman is hard to do. You just have to have the right people and the right ideas. I don't think it's that hard. And I'm reading Bendis' Superman run right now, and it's pretty good. I'm actually really enjoying it. And there have been some really classic Superman tales and Superman movies. So I just don't know if I buy into that.
Sure. Agree to disagree. I mean, Superman's become basically a god. He's bigger than his own character. And I don't really see, you know, I just don't see people buying into that. I mean, every iteration of Superman, like you said, is the Boy Scout of some level. You know, are you going to do Christopher Reeve ad nauseum? Because, you know, moody Superman from Henry Cavill is not the way we want to go.
No, we don't.
You know, I mean, I would be really interested if they did something completely different. If they kind of did like the whole Grant Morrison thing, where they kind of really focus on the fact that he's an alien and he's like doesn't really belong here, kind of thing. And
that's what Snyder was attempting to do.
Yeah, ham-fistedly. But I mean, like, I guess he just didn't work it out very well. But see, that's the thing. I don't even know where they would go with this. I mean, even Wonder Woman, just because, or Aquaman, or anybody else. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot more opportunity. But I'm just one guy.
One really cool, smart, sleepy guy.
That's right. And there's, millions of people who agree with me. So there you go.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, so let's see. I was talking about how I was gonna fire you earlier in the week because the John Wick 3 trailer dropped, we'll say, as the kids would say. And as you'll know, this did not make Chris's most anticipated list of 2019. And he actually scoffed at me when I brought it up. Now, after watching this, yes, you did. You're like, no, not good enough for me. I dug up a couple other things that are going to be better than this, but no.
Well, true.
Didn't make the cut. Come on, now after watching this trailer, this looks fantastic. This looks like everything I wanted to see.
I don't know. I'm going to be perfectly straight with you on this. I said my problem with the series is I can't seem to get into the whole continental thing. It's just there's no internal logic in the continental thing, and I also think the more we learn about it, the less interesting it gets. If somebody can explain to me the value of those coins, I'd love to hear it. There seems to be no consistent value to any of what they are. There isn't, and the less the better. And the other thing too, I've been burned by Halle Berry a couple times now. Particularly and I don't blame her, but Die Another Day. All right. And seeing her pop up in this does not fill me with confidence. I still think that I'm sure it'll be good and entertaining. I love the first two films, so I'm sure it'll be more of the same and great. I really hope so, but we'll see. I'm still looking forward to it. It just wasn't in my top. What would it do? 10? It was like 11. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Right. I really think, I'm just going to point this out here. Okay, one, you're really taking the wrong lessons from John Wick. You're really giving me kind of like a, Simpsons vibe where you're the guy in the back saying, genius at work, to criticizing a children's show. That's what I feel like you're doing to me right now. I mean, come on, a bunch of dudes, a biker gang with katanas, that all coming out at the same time. It's like perfect. I want to see it. Chris, I'm very upset with you.
I want to see it. I just want to see other things more.
Explain to me explain to me how currency works in John Wick. I will not be happy with it until that happens.
I'm not that. I'm just curious. I don't understand what the value of those coins are. So 3 coins can clean up what 2 dozen dead people in your house,
mm-hmm.
And then 1 coin is for you can buy a drink. What? I don't.
Maybe the coins have different value depending on who gave them to you. Maybe they're printed differently. Have we ever really thought about that, Chris?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, you could totally run an economy on something like that.
Because a movie about a secret world of hitman where basically everyone in New York is apparently a hitman is really we got to worry about their coins.
Part of me think that's part of my issue too, is the more this universe expands, the more unbelievable it becomes.
But I thought that was like your thing, man. I thought you were into like the kind of B movie ridiculousness of this stuff. Like that's the fun of it, is that it's just so stupid that you just kind of got to go with it and enjoy it.
Like the scene in the second one when him and Common are shooting each other in the bus terminal. Well, like nobody would. I
said the same thing, but at the same time, I did not care because it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense.
Train terminal, subway, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I know. It just, whatever. All right. So I actually had that. One of mine was John Wick 3, and the note actually reads Halle Berry.
Chris fired.
So Christian McQuarrie, after previously saying he'd rather have leprosy than do another Mission Impossible film, is doing 2 Mission Impossible films. They're filming them back to back. Supposed to come out in 2021 and 2022. I'm assuming this is it, right? I mean, so what are your thoughts on that? And are we going to pass the torch? Is there going to be a new agent that takes over? Because what is Cruise at this point? Isn't his 50s, right? Late 50s?
Yeah, he's in his 50s for sure. Mid 50s at least.
Let me see here. 50. I'm going to say 56.
Okay.
And 56. Oh,
wow.
So this has got to be it, right? This has got to be it. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Are you excited for? I'm assuming this is going to be a continuation film. So like Rogue Nation was to Fallout,
right?
That we're going to have a similar thing here. This is going to basically be kind of a two-parter, some big blowout, massive send off for Ethan Hunt, which is cool. But what I would like just once, to have these movies actually be about a mission instead of him going rogue and his own agency trying to hunt him down. Maybe one time.
One time, that's it.
So, but those are my thoughts. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know if they can do this movies. I mean, if Tom Cruise hangs it up, and I think he'll be like Tom Brady, he'll just keep going until they kick him out, or he stops making money. But I don't see them handing over the reins because I think they're going to have like a Renner. Like, weren't they already supposed to hand it over with Renner?
I think that initially that was some of the thought that Renner was going to take over, but
yeah,
I don't know if that ever actually was the plan.
Right. And I don't think they want to have like another Jason Bourne situation where they have, 3 solid films that try and bring in a new guy and it just kind of all collapses around it. And then they try to ham-fistedly bring back the original guy. So I think what they'll do is, even if this is his last blowout, I think they'll let it breathe for a little while. I think they'll let it simmer, and then maybe they'll try again in 10 years.
Do a whole different reboot from scratch.
Yeah, just start over. Maybe Ethan Hunt again, but it's a completely different character.
So you don't want to see like the continuing adventures of Simon Pegg. Benji takes over as the.
I mean, as much as I love Simon,
him and Nick Frost,
I don't know if he can carry an action film like that. I'm just sorry, Nick. I love you, but I'm just throwing it out there. Nick,
you don't want a Edgar Wright helmed Mission Impossible film starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
You know what? If they make that happen, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll have to see. You may be right. They may just kind of shut the whole thing down and sit on the property for like 5 years or so and then relaunch.
Right.
But I don't know, man. That is. Well, I mean, if you can replace James Bond, you can replace anybody.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that's a pretty iconic role for him at this point. So, all right. What do you got?
All right. So, the reviews are coming out for our next review, and they're not looking good. Now, I haven't read any of them, but I've seen the number. On Rotten Tomatoes. So, Glass is at 36%.
Yes,
that is not good. Especially considering how Rotten Tomatoes rates their stuff, because even if you're slightly positive, they give it a positive rating. So,
well, they let the reviewer decide.
Oh, they do.
Yes.
Okay, but the audience score is at 79%. So, what are you thinking? How you feeling about this, Chris? We were pretty anticipating for this.
Here's what I think. Well, here's my problem. My original theory is blown apart by the audience score. My original theory was that the current state of superhero movies have passed Glass by, and that what Shyamalan's doing here won't work for today's audience. Except it's got an 80% audience score, so that blows up that theory. I'm assuming there's some big twist that maybe this whole thing takes place in some kid's mind at the end or something like that. I don't know. But it's, I don't know. Part of me, I don't want to verbalize my thoughts because I'm afraid I'm going to manifest it into reality. I'm terrified that this is going to be horrible. And I love Unbreakable so much and was so pleased with Split. And I think, who was I talking to? Oh, my personal trainer, as if you couldn't tell. And we were talking about Glass because he wasn't as familiar with the whole backstory. And I told him that Split was solid, but it went from like a B- to a B+ just because of the reveal of David Dunn at the end of the film. But yeah, Matt, I'm really terrified this is going to be like a happening level disaster. I don't think it's going to be. I think I'm going to enjoy it, but there's just part of me that's just like that he just fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line, and this thing is just bad.
Yeah, I can't imagine just looking at it. It doesn't look anywhere near as bad as The Happening, although The Happening does have its charms. What I'm anticipating is that this is going to be another Village where it's got some really solid stuff in it, and he just kind of screws it up by giving into his worst impulses. And that's what I'm nervous of. Like there's going to be the bones of something that's really good there, but he just makes some bad decisions, some bad storytelling decisions that's gonna really derail the thing.
Yeah, I wonder if because after the success of Split, he's like, "Wow, I'm finally gonna be able to do this," and he just goes all in on all the wrong moves, like you're saying. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, where he doesn't have somebody reining him in by his own budget and stuff like that.
I will be seeing this on Tuesday night.
Okay.
So we'll be talking about it soon, but I'm sure I'll post something on our Twitter account where I'll do some kind of initial reaction, maybe some emoji or some gif of me crying or exuberantly happy or just kind of meh. Is there a meh gif? I'm assuming there is. All right, Matt, what do I got for you? Ooh, I want to save this one for you because I'm sure you're very excited about it. Ghostbusters 3. So there's actually a teaser trailer. Jason Reitman is making a proper isn't the right term, but I guess a Ghostbusters universe proper sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Ernie Hudson that I read online today, everybody's coming back. Clearly not everybody.
Well, Egon's not coming back, obviously.
But then Bill Murray at one point said he'd only come back if Venkman died in the beginning of the film. Now, I don't know if he's sticking to that or not. I couldn't tell you.
Right.
But Ghostbusters 3, Jason Reitman. What are your thoughts?
You know what? I'm a child of the 80s. I was a kid when the original Ghostbusters came out. I got it on VHS. I watched it so many times I could literally recite the whole movie, basically verbatim. I was too stupid to really understand how mediocre Ghostbusters 2 was, but it has not aged well. It's not good. So I mean, I'm not a slavish fan to this thing, like by any means. Like I loved it a lot at a certain point in my life, but it's obviously just kind of nostalgia. It's not something I really follow. So I'm intrigued, but and I'll see it, I guess. But I mean, I'm not super excited over it.
Yeah, I think so. I think me too. I don't know. I just # me too. I don't think that. I don't know what it is. I'm just not. I don't think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I for some reason I have like no faith that this thing is going to come together.
Is it because that the reboot was just so mediocre? Like it had such good talent in it, and it was just not. It was just kind of blah.
No, I think Ghostbusters, their first film, is one of those things where they just caught lightning in a bottle.
Sure.
And I just don't know I just don't think it can be replicated. And they haven't yet. There was a sequel, there was a reboot, neither of them terribly good. The reboot is it's not bad. It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's still, I just don't know. I think it's just one of those, this happens occasionally in cinema and in life. Or just everything just kind of clicks and comes together perfectly at the right time. And I just don't feel it. I don't know. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Well, what do you think about Leslie Jones going on a Twitter tirade about how she thinks it's bunk that they're making one that's kind of abandoning what they did?
Welcome to Hollywood. Hollywood, especially big budget films like that, is not so much focused on artistic integrity.
Right.
It's about making money.
Right.
And it's as simple as that.
I know. Yeah, it just didn't bring in the dough. I mean, the problem, and I read something that was very interesting. I never really thought of this, that one of the big problems with it is that Feig, he relied too much on improv and ad-lib, that style of comedy, where it didn't really work. If he had tried to be a little stricter, it might have worked out a little bit better. Which is I think is a fair point.
That'll happen. Like movies like The House, which could have been hilarious, you know, and it's just okay, maybe.
Yeah.
When you let the improvisers, I'll get there, do their thing, and unfortunately, what may seem hilarious in the moment just doesn't translate well on screen.
Yeah.
So that could very well be the issue.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, you know, I mean, for every Anchorman or Step Brothers you get the house.
Yeah.
You know, so although we did find out the perfect role that Chris Hemsworth needs to play in every single movie he's in.
That's true. Like a
Funny,
himbo.
Funny himbo, yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do you got?
All right. So are you saving me a Spider-Man question?
I certainly am.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask a Spider-Man question, so why don't you just go ahead and ask me your Spider-Man question?
I'm just asking for your thoughts on the Spider-Man trailer, and I feel like the reveal of officially of our villain.
Yeah.
Knowing the origins of the character, I feel like I know exactly what this film's going to be about and what's going to happen. But I'm sure I'm still really enjoy it. So,
Sure.
But what are your thoughts on trailer, and how excited are you? And are you as excited as I am that we are getting the fishbowl?
Yes, I'm super excited for the fishbowl. I'm really glad they're leaning into some comic book stupidity, which you don't see enough of in these things. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, like I've said many times, I mean, Spider-Man's my favorite, so obviously it's already got a pretty high bar for me. But I think you're right. I mean, basically what I'm getting here is that Mysterio is going to be doing like a syndrome kind of thing. He's playing the hero when he's actually creating the crises kind of thing.
Right.
So I don't know. And then I guess there's been some speculation that maybe he's going to actually have magic because his powers in the thing or in the trailer look like Doctor Strange, like the things he's shooting out of his hands and stuff like that. It looks like Doctor Strange magic. But I don't know. We'll see.
And also, there's a hint. I don't know if you saw this, that Hydro Man is in it too.
Oh, really?
Because I guess there's a scene where there's a big water monster. At first, I thought maybe it was a Mysterio illusion.
Sure.
Which is what he does.
Yeah.
But I guess behind it in the Hydro Man or the big water monster in the scene, is like it says ASM like 122, or I can't remember the number, which is the issue that introduced Hydro Man into Marvel Universe. So, or maybe that's just how they tag. Maybe it is all an illusion thing. They just kind of honor it by doing that. I don't know.
Sure.
So that's happening. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna really love Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I love Mysterio because it's such a crazy costume.
Right.
And I can't wait to see it on the big screen. So that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm glad they're leaning into the insanity. So what do you think it takes place? Do you think it takes place? I mean,
what do you mean?
Nick Fury's in this, so is it like pre-snap?
No.
Or is it post? It's definitely post.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go.
What? Yeah, you think Spider-Man's dead?
No. I just didn't know if they were going to try and redo it in some other way or play with the timeline or something like that.
I mean, I guess they could.
Yeah.
But you think they would announce that in the beginning of the trailer? You know, they would say like 2016, 2018, or whatever it is.
Sure.
2017, so that you would know. And that way it also help the lack of a spoiler. It's like, oh, see, Spider-Man comes back. But no, I don't think so. Maybe it will be. I don't know. I have no strong opinion either way. Do you?
No, I mean, yeah, I'm just curious. I don't really know how way it would go, but you know, I couldn't. Maybe I think they should probably just make it directly after everything gets better in the new Avengers film and just leave it at that.
That is my assumption. So, all right, Matt. I got a few things, but I'm gonna shelve one of them. Maybe for a what are the odds? Because we got the Oscars coming up, so we got some stuff to talk about. I think is it Tuesday or next Tuesday they get announced?
I think it's this Tuesday.
But I'm gonna give you. All right, I'm gonna do a quick call it for you, and it's gonna wrap me up for the day.
Okay.
You can only see one this year. Which will it be? Avengers Endgame or Star Wars Episode 9?
Oh, that's tough. I can only see one this year. You know what? I'm going to play.
No, ever. Like, this is it. One is gone. One, you never get to see one. So not just this year. One or the other. Which one would you choose if you could only choose one?
Man, that's tough. I guess my fandom right now is focused on Star Wars, so I'm going to say Star Wars Episode 9. But you ask me in a year from now that question, maybe I won't be as into Star Wars as I am at the moment, so I would change my answer.
Yeah, I think that's the only answer, is Episode 9.
Okay.
I agree.
You're pretty easy about that, huh?
Yeah. Well, I've told you many times. I know exactly what's going to happen at Endgame. So I just don't know who's going to die. We think it's either RDJ or
Chris Evans.
Captain America.
Or both.
Mm-hmm. You got any more?
I do not.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think? What are your thoughts on any of those subjects? We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. All right, Matt. Next week, well, we've talked about it. We now feel slightly threatened by it, but we are going to talk about Glass. Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan's conclusion to his Unbreakable trilogy. We'll see how it turns out. Also, there's a bunch of other stuff that's available online, Matt, we got to talk about, so we'll figure something out. I don't know what you want to do yet, but there's a lot of stuff out there.
There is.
So we'll figure that out. In the meantime, check us out. You can watch the live streaming of the recording of the show on YouTube. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Just do a search for The First Run, scroll, and you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts if you don't mind, and give us a rating. I will read it on air, and it'll also help other people find the show. So what do you think, Matt? Let's take an extended break, and we'll see you guys all next week, and I'll either be happy or crying, or nonplussed.
Disease, and I'm the cure.